avid readers of Christian fiction. I'm here with Carmen Schober, and we are talking about her new book, After She Falls, which releases tomorrow. So we're doing this on November 1st. Tomorrow's November 2nd. So if you're watching it later, if it's after November 2nd, you can already go buy it. So just saying that here.
That's true.
So welcome, Carmen.
Thank you so much, Trisha. I'm super excited to chat about After She Falls.
I'm so excited. Okay, first of all, look at the cover. I'm gonna put this
Right.
up close. There's a face there. Like I didn't notice the face for
Oh, you
like
didn't notice?
I didn't notice like right away because I got it in the mail. I like set it on my desk. I like picked it
Oh.
up and looked at it a couple times, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, there's a face there, which
I
was
know, and
super
it's
cool.
yeah, and if you turn it, like it looks really cool, like if you look at her sideways, like it's an awesome,
Yeah.
very
Oh, if you turn it this
striking little
way.
eyes.
Oh, this
Yeah,
way. I
or
guess.
like yeah,
Yeah.
like she's
Yeah.
that's the idea. Yep.
Oh,
Pretty
okay.
cool.
So this is so fun. Okay, so I've been reading a lot of like different genres, more like fantasy and sci-fi this year that I ever have. But the cool thing about this is I've never read about a mixed martial artist. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Professional mixed martial artist person. And I feel like this is whole new world. Like it's not science fiction or fantasy, but it's this complete new world. And like I'm reading, I'm thinking, dun dun, dun, dun. It's like going through my head. The Eye of the Tiger. I
That's
graduated like
awesome.
in 1989 when that song was, I don't know, that song was in the
Oh.
80s.
Yeah,
Rocky
yeah.
movies, like Apollo
Yes.
Creed, like all these
Love it.
things I am thinking of as I'm reading this. And
Wow.
then, I mean, and I want an Uncle Roman, just saying. I just
Oh my
want an
gosh,
Uncle
I know.
Roman in my
He's
life.
so cute.
He's so sweet.
Right?
Okay,
I know.
so I'm just like probably talking nonsense for all the listeners out here. So explain what this book is about and why I'm
Okay.
saying like it reminds me of Rocky and
Yes.
Eye of the
I
Tiger.
yeah, no, I love it. You got the vibe I wanted.
Yeah.
Um so After She Falls is a very very loose reinterpretation of the classic Rocky movie. And when I say
Mhm.
reinterpretation, it's not like rigidly following along or anything, but it's the basic concept of a underdog whose
Mhm.
life kind of starts off in a place where they don't want it to be. And then just through a series of events with like help along the way, a great Uncle Roman, that's sort of her, Audrey, the main character's equivalent of Coach Mick, if you've seen the
Yeah.
Rocky movie, um, comes to build that dream back together. Obviously,
Mhm.
some things that are different about mine is that it's a female protagonist instead of boxing. She's a mixed martial artist, which, if those people aren't familiar, mixed martial arts is just like the big umbrella of combative sports. So
Okay.
jujitsu, boxing, wrestling. It covers this whole wide range of ways of fighting. Um, and then obviously, I think Rocky is a romance, but like in a more subtle way. My book
Right.
is a more romance in that it's like really driving the plot. Um, and then obviously Audrey is a Christian, and so that sort of Christian arc, because it is Christian fiction, I really wanted to draw that out. But
Yeah.
it's really cool. A lot of people don't know about the Rocky movies is there actually are some pretty strong Christian themes and imagery that Sylvester Stallone did on purpose. But it's just very, like if you're just watching it, you're not necessarily gonna pick up on it. So I
And
kind
I
of
want to go back
drew it
and
out.
watch them so bad now. Because I know that I'm reading your book. I'm like texting my husband, like, we need to watch those
Yeah.
movies again.
Oh my gosh, so fun. Well, and the first one came out on Thanksgiving. It's the perfect time. Do
Yeah,
a little marathon, have a little Rocky Fest, and yeah.
exactly.
I
I
love
love it.
Sylvester Stallone. I like all of his movies, even the bad ones. So,
Because
which there's a
he's just
lot of
awesome.
them. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
because
Yeah.
he's just amazing. I know. I love
I
him too.
know.
Okay,
Yeah.
so fun. Okay, so I know you have some background why you want to do this. Okay, I'm like reading.
Yes.
I don't like to, I walk every day. I don't jog ever. I don't go to the gym. I like literally like, I want to go run. Like, I want to go do some shadow boxing. I don't know. Audrey, you
That's
made her
so
so
funny.
cool. Yeah.
That is so funny. One thing I said as I was writing this book is like, I hope it's a book that causes like this big trend in people trying mixed martial arts, like some weird, like, like all these Christian women are gonna flood mixed martial arts gyms and just be like, I'm here.
I'm just like when she's at the railroad tracks, like
Teach me.
running. I'm like, I just want to
Yeah,
go do that right now. It's so cool. But explain your background on why you
sure,
wanted to write this. Yeah.
sure. So my background with combative sports is kind of like all over the place. It's not this linear line, but
Mm-hmm.
basically when I was younger and I first watched the Rocky movies, I was super, obviously I loved them. I was into it. I didn't try boxing until years later. And I think I just heard that my town in Kansas, which is not very big, had a boxing gym. And I was like, I will go try that. I wasn't really athletic up until that point. Um, but my mom took me there twice a week. I did boxing drills. I learned the fundamentals. It was really fun. I got in really good shape. And I think my like 16-year-old self really liked that part of it. It was
Yeah.
like, I'm
Like, look at
feeling
this.
very,
I got
yes,
muscles.
exactly. And it was just something that like for the first time in my life, it was really hard, but I didn't quit. Like I don't know. I think I must have tapped into that like Rocky spirit. I was like, I'm going to keep doing this,
Mm,
even though I'm not like, the best. I'm just going to keep
yeah.
doing it. And then I did end up, and this kind of probably segue into different parts of what we could talk about. But when I was 18, I got in this really, I mean, it was an abusive relationship. It was physically abusive,
Mm,
emotionally abusive. Thankfully, it was very short. It wasn't like I
mm-hmm.
wasn't
Mm-hmm.
married to him. It's not like Audrey's situation,
Yeah.
other than I learned how weird that dynamic can be. And by all accounts, like anyone who knew me when I was dating this person, like I seemed very strong and, determined and funny. Like nobody would look at me and think that that was happening to me. And so that's sort of something I wanted to draw out. And after she falls, is that like, yeah, who would think that a mixed
Mm-hmm.
martial artist, this woman who's like extremely good at fighting and obviously very resilient, could find herself in that situation? But very often, I mean, I think it happens to
Yeah.
anybody. It can happen to any person. So that was part of it too. Is after I got out of that relationship, and now that I have daughters, I've just always been passionate about at least knowing the basics of what you can do if you ever find yourself in a scary situation. Like I feel much more confident in my ability to at least
Yeah.
deter someone. I'm
Yeah.
not a mixed martial artist. I'm not like Audrey, but I could at least, I sort of know enough that
Yeah.
it's empowering. I would encourage anyone, if they're even just like a little bit curious, to try it out, because I love it. It's
Absolutely.
great exercise and you make awesome friends. And so yeah, I've done
Absolutely.
boxing and Krav Maga. And if people haven't heard of Krav Maga, that's a good one. That's Israeli style self-defense. That one's a
Okay.
little more like an art versus
Okay.
boxing. Boxing is an art, but boxing is more exercise, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the domestic violence, and
Right.
that's what the book opens with. So,
Right.
I mean, initially you think Audrey is a very weak person
Right.
because of the situation she's in, and then you're like, wait a minute. Like, as the book goes
Yeah.
along, you realize like there's something there. But I totally understand. I have a friend that's in Bible study right now that has from that background. I've had, again, like you, some relationships that were going that way that thankfully I ended
Right.
those relationships. But I think so many women out there, and it's that feeling of afterwards, after they're violent or verbally abusive, they're so nice and they're so like, can be so like, I
Right.
love you, I'm so sorry. And it's like almost that, well, it's going to be okay. He's not going to do it again.
Right.
So I guess you can see Audrey, how she got stuck
Right.
in that cycle. And then Paul's also, they make you feel so weak, or that, just from hearing, talking to other people, they make you feel so weak that you think you really need this person. And so
Right.
that whole dynamic there, which it
Exactly.
opens with that. And then as you're going, you're realizing, like, okay, obviously he made her feel weak, but she's a very strong person. And you can see that coming out. Actually, when
Right.
she's in a safe place, pretty quickly, you can see her strengths kind of building up again. And so I think her
Yes.
character is so fascinating because there are so many women in that situation that we wouldn't even think of, like you
Yep.
mentioned, we wouldn't even think of her in that situation. But I think it's important to let people know, yes, you can get out, you can get help. And I
Yep.
love you talking about self-defense. Our kids did taekwondo. And so we've
Nice.
had them in taekwondo like 2.5 years right before COVID. So,
Awesome. So
but it,
good
it
for
is just
kids.
knowing like
So
some of
good.
the how to break out of holes and different things.
Yes.
It's important, like you
Yeah.
said, or any kind of self defense is important for people because you
Right.
never know what type of situation you're going to
Right.
be in. So I love through Audrey's story, we're able to talk about it. That's with Christian fiction, I think so many people say like, oh, it's just prairie romance or it's just Amish stories or whatever, which I've written both of those, but I've also written World War
uh,
II. But I'm like,
yes.
okay, this is not prairie romance. This is not Amish. Like, I think there's so
Yes.
many topics that are able to be explored that people don't think of. And so this would be a good one. Like
Right.
if you have someone from work or whoever, wherever, they're like, oh, I'd never read Christian fiction because it's just so
Right.
boring or whatever. Well, here you go. Why don't you
Yes,
try this
I love that.
one?
I love that. Yeah, yeah. Because that was when I set out to write, I really did want to write a book that Christian women would enjoy and feel like, was
Hmm.
edifying and inspiring and bring them closer to God, but also not be like intimidating to the non Christian reader or like the nominally Christian gal. Kind of like just what you said. Like, I feel like it is a book that you can give to someone who may have
Hmm.
no experience whatsoever
Right.
with Christian fiction, and they're going to feel like, they can fit right into it. And hopefully it will, pique their interest about. And one thing that was important to me too was trying to build this realistic arc of coming to faith,
Hmm.
in 2021, like our time
Yeah.
period of just a kind of post-Christian culture, where it's, Christianity isn't, you can't really assume that anybody has this strong background
Yeah.
in understanding Christianity or the church or anything. So kind of just thinking about how would these two people realistically come to this place in their relationship with God. And hopefully it's kind of intriguing and different and speaks to
Yeah.
people in different places. That was what I
And
was
absolutely,
hoping.
and I love like right from the beginning, the characters are questioning a lot of things. You know what I mean? It's like, especially Max when he was like, "Okay, God is silent. That's nice, whatever. These people have church and they have God, but he was
Right.
silent back then. He's silent now." And I think it's so important. It's not like easy answers, like, "Oh, all of a sudden everything's gonna be great, and we're never gonna have
Right.
questions, or we're never gonna have
Right.
these issues in our life that we're gonna have to find forgiveness or reconciliation, all these things where people are like, oh yeah, I have that question too. Like when they're reading
Yeah.
along, they're understanding the characters. And so that's what makes it real because real life people have real life questions and real
Yeah.
life struggles and then problems with relationships, problems with God, problems with church, like all these things. And I
Right.
love that you include this in here. It's not like, oh, all of a sudden he's like, oh, that makes total sense. Let's just, whatever. Because that's
I'm a
not
Christian
reality.
now. Right.
Yeah, I'm a
Right.
Christian
Exactly.
and everything's fine and we're never gonna have problems again. So
Right.
I
Right.
love that right away, your characters, that's what's in I think chapter 2, Max is like, I don't hear God, like kind of questioning.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that I think that's so important. So with the faith element, you talk about you like as a Christian book, you wanted that to be there. And I think I love, yes, this is someone you could hand to someone that they're not going to think, you're not handing them a Bible. So
Right.
was
Right.
that
Exactly.
part of your strategy, I guess, or desire would be when you're writing the book to know that it can be for people, all people, or
Yes.
seekers, or yeah.
Yes. Yeah. What I was thinking is, I grew up reading Christian fiction. I love Christian
Hmm.
fiction. I love Francine Rivers. I like the
Yeah.
prairie romances. I like all of it. I don't have
Yeah.
any beef with it or anything. But I was just, I think probably just my age and thinking about our culture and
Hmm.
my daughters. I'm always kind of thinking about like, how can I tell a story that is going to kind of be unexpected enough that people will put their
Hmm.
guard down for a minute?
Right.
Because I think if you approach faith in ways that people have already kind of encountered it, it's just easy.
Hmm.
There's unfortunately like a lot of hostility. Like there's just
Yeah.
this a lot of walls. And so what I try to do when I'm writing fiction or really anything is how can I how can I highlight what I know to be true about God, biblical truth about God in a way that's going to just kind of like shine differently. So then the person can
Hmm.
stop and they don't have to like, feel all these different little barriers to it. They can just experience it through the story and hopefully, kind of plant that seed. And I don't expect anyone to like read the book and be like, I'm a Christian now. But I think at the very least, you
But you
can read
never
it.
know.
You never
Yeah.
know. I think there are women who probably have some interest in a relationship with God, but don't necessarily know like what
Hmm.
that would look like or what the expectations are. Like I think that it could at least paint a little vision that is intriguing enough to open people's hearts, open their minds. The other fun thing about it is that MMA, mixed martial arts, actually has a very funny, eclectic, interesting Christian subculture. There are lots of MMA
Wow.
fighters who are Christians, and they go about it in different ways. Some of them are super, like aggressive and like outspoken, and other ones, they just like pray before they. It's
Yeah.
interesting. I mean, all sports kind of has that,
Right.
but in MMA, it's particularly noticeable, I think, and
That's
pretty
so
cool.
cool.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love that. Okay, I would love to hear how this came to be, like your kind of your writing journey, and this is your
sure.
first novel. So just tell us
Yes.
a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I've always kind of wanted to be a writer ever since I can remember, but I guess I was pretty practical even as a young child because I was like, I don't want to. That's going to be a hard life. I'm not going to do
Yeah.
that. But then I went to college and I studied English literature and creative writing, and it was very apparent to me and
Mm,
to other people that like I'm good at this. Like
yeah.
and not like I'm good at this in some like, like prodigy kind of way, but just like I
Right.
knew like I could figure out how to tell a story, and I was very
Mm,
determined to like get it right. And so it
yeah.
slowly occurred to me that like I should try to do this. Like I have this desire, I have enough determination to figure it out. And so I got my degree, and then I took a screenwriting class just to like change it up. And screenwriting is really fun. It's hard. I would not say I know that much about screenwriting even
It
after
is
just the
hard.
one. It's
I've
very hard.
tried two
Yeah.
scripts and I'm like,
Yeah.
this is really a lot of work.
The thing that was most helpful though that I took away from that class is the idea of the plot, because you have to be
Mhm.
very like tight in the
Yeah.
screenwriting plot. And so that helped me early on figure out like, okay, this is how I have to figure out actions sequences. And then
Right.
the other thing about screenplay writing is the visual aspect of it.
Mhm.
Like it all has to be seen, it all has to be compelling. And so I just took that and smushed it in with what I like doing more, which is writing novels, and sort of was like, okay, so if I'm thinking in terms of this really tight, nice classic story, and I'm thinking in terms of
Mhm.
cinematic elements, what am I going to create? And After She Falls, obviously after some versions, was eventually the product of that. So
That's so
yeah,
cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And
So
the
this
cool
is the
thing is
first one like you actually sat down and started writing too? Or
yeah, I wrote one other. I don't even really consider it. When you're just kind of like,
we all have those on our computer
yeah, yeah,
somewhere.
and like, yeah, I wrote things in college. Like, obviously, I had to have a lot of practice. But After She
Mhm.
Falls was the first real book that I ever wrote, like determined, beginning to end, finished.
That
Yeah,
is so cool. So did you
yeah.
connect like at a writers conference with an editor or how did
Oh, sure,
that whole
sure.
process go?
So, yeah, I live in Kansas, and there was I think it was a writers workshop event. I think that's what it's called. Um, a few years ago, and my current agent was there, and we just kind of like hit it off. I didn't even have a finished manuscript or anything. I just went up to her and we chatted, and she got really excited about the concept and gave me her email, and then I went home and I finished it. And big long period of time passed, had some other offers and different things. But I ended up going with her because we're both
Mhm.
based in Kansas. She's a Christian. She was super excited about the book. We just had this good relationship. She's been awesome.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, yeah. And so we joke, we're like Kansas underdogs because like
I
she
love
has
that.
her agency is small. I'm a new writer. We're both just kind of like in here. We're out here in Kansas, just like doing what we can, and it's been good. And then obviously, having her is great because she handled so much of the negotiation process
Yeah,
with publishers, and really love Bethany House. It's been great to work with Bethany House.
good.
Yeah, love the cover. Like every part of the
Oh yeah.
process has been.
It's so cool.
Yeah, I know. And like
Hey, yeah.
because this is my first time, I don't really have a reference point, but a lot of people, I feel like a lot of people rag on traditional publishing, and I've heard stories where I can like understand why. But personally, I mean, I feel very blessed by my wonderful agent, Bethany House, Jen, the editor. Like it's been great.
That is so cool. Okay, so
Yeah.
everyone's gonna know, are you working on something next or something coming out after this?
Yeah.
So I want to mention again, this comes out November 2nd. So just if, whenever you're watching this, just in reference to that. So what are you working on next,
Yeah.
or do you have more coming
So
out?
yes. So I have a new book coming out that I'm frenziedly working on. It's really fun. It's called Pretty Little Pieces. And it's sort
Ooh.
of like are you familiar with Joanna Gaines, Fixer
Oh yeah,
Upper?
yeah,
That's
yep.
so it has this like Fixer Upper reality TV show flipping houses elements. Sort of meets like Sweet Home Alabama, that movie with Reese
Oh,
Witherspoon,
very cool.
kind of
Yeah.
like that rom-com element to it. Um, and it's like a southern summer type of novel. I'm very strange in that my mom is Cuban and my dad is from, well, he's not really from the South, but his family, like I grew up basically alternating between going to like Cuban gatherings and then going to like, for lack of a better word, redneckish gatherings. I
Yeah,
mean that
I
like
love it.
lovingly.
Yeah,
I love
yeah,
it, you know.
yep.
And
I
so
live
I
in
mean,
Arkansas, so I'm
oh, okay.
all about that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm all about that.
yeah, I would joke that I was a Cuban hillbilly when I was
Yeah.
little, and like it's just like it's this interesting world, and so I was interested in this book, kind of exploring that. I have lots of just really pleasant, picturesque type of memories
Mhm.
of family in Tennessee and family recipes, and just kind of that like cozy home type of feel, but because of this reality TV element, it's different. It's kind of got the whole like pressures of being a star and being famous and seeming like you're perfect and everything's not really perfect. That's sort of what it explores. But there's also a hot ex sniper, of course, who's involved. Like, it's very different from After She Falls, but a lot of the things that hopefully people like about After She Falls will still be present. Sort of that organic journey through faith,
Mm.
new world. I don't think a lot of
Yep,
people are
yep.
familiar with like reality TV, so that kind of interesting thing. So I'm excited about it. It's hard. I just had a baby. I had a baby 3 months ago.
Oh my
I had
goodness.
yeah, I had a baby 3 months ago. I have a 3.5 year old, and I have a 1.5 year old.
Oh my
So
goodness. And you're writing books.
and I'm writing books. And so this one is harder to write. And not because the story is harder to write, it's just harder because my mind and my heart are in three
Yeah,
different
I
places all the
bet.
time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, hopefully it will come out this summer. But, it's kind of, we're looking at probably a summer release or maybe a fall release.
Okay.
So I'll
Very
keep
cool.
people posted on that. So just
Yeah,
enjoy After
absolutely.
She Falls.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, read that, read it twice. So,
Read
because
that.
the other
Yeah,
one's gonna be a while.
exactly. Yeah, read that, get the audiobook,
Yeah,
read it,
exactly. Which I'm
memorize it.
going to because I love
Yeah.
audiobooks. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's super fun because like you're sure telling this, I love like I feel so in this world of this I mean with Uncle Roman in his house and is it Yvonne? Yvonne, his
Yes,
girlfriend or not
Yvonne.
girlfriend, his friend.
Yes. His
With her little
girl, his
hill,
friend.
with his little her little hill, like I could just picture her so well.
Yeah.
Like this world is so complete, and so I love that you're like, okay, this world. Now I'm gonna take you to this world, and so that's gonna
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
super
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
I'm gonna enjoy that. I love just being completely immersed in a different world, and I think you totally did it. You did a great job
Yeah.
with
Thank
After She
you.
Falls, and so it's gonna be super fun to still hear you, like how you're gonna take us in this other world. It's gonna be great. So I'm
Thank
looking
you.
forward
Yep.
to it.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
So
I'm
we'll
super
just pray for
excited.
the mental energy that you can get
Yes,
it
thank
done.
you. Mental energy, endurance, just and for my kids. My kids are so sweet, but they're so little, and it's hard. It's hard. Like, mommy, what are you doing, mommy? I'm writing
Yeah.
books. Writing
Yeah.
like,
Exactly.
so, but no, it's a wonderful blessing. It astounds me all the time. Like I think about how all I really wanted deep down, if I would have been honest with
Mm.
myself, is I wanted a family and I wanted
Mhm.
to write books, and I have both, and it's far exceeded my expectations. And God is just super good. There's a period of time where I was really messing up a lot of things, and it's
Mm.
just really cool, especially as this book is about to launch tomorrow, to
Yeah.
just like think about that, just to think about how God really does like take the broken pieces of our lives
Mm.
and just make something so much cooler than we think we even want. So I'll
I
try not
love
to
that too.
complain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Because I was a a pregnant teenager.
Oh wow.
And so I remember like just praying like, and I was going my own way. I grew up going to church. My mom was a new Christian though, so it was like new Christian going to church. Like it wasn't like our whole
Yeah,
world.
yeah, yeah.
But like when I
Sure.
was when I was 17 and pregnant, I'm like, God, just take it, whatever you can do with my life. And then I'm like, wow, you are like okay. I got lots of books
Yeah.
I'm writing, lots of kids. Like you see,
It's
like again,
amazing.
even when I'm exhausted and tired and my house is messy or whatever, it's like,
Yeah.
but this is all good. Like we're
Yes.
all good here.
Yes. We
I
say
love it.
thank you. Thank
Yes.
you. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
So we had that's awesome. Congrats. So some of the yeah, congrats on
Thank
the new babies and the
you.
kids and everything. Okay, so I want to answer this other question too. Someone said, Trisha, when do you walk? You're so busy. I want your energy. So my husband, so John and I have gone up like seasons, my husband John, and where we'll walk. And then we were out of the season. So like probably a month ago, he's like, we're gonna get up and walk again. So we get up in the morning. The
Oh,
alarm
nice
went
and
off at
early.
6:30.
Okay.
6:30, I'm like, honey, I don't want to go walk, but we
Because
did.
it's
Yeah.
probably kind of cold in Arkansas, right? It's getting
It
cold
was
now.
like 40, 49
Ah,
degrees when we went walking
it's a
this morning.
little
So I had my
chilly.
coat,
It's
but
a
you know,
little
by the end
chilly.
you're like taking off your hat and
Yes.
but and
Yes.
then in the evening after dinner, the whole family walks.
Oh,
And so we have
fun.
5 kids still at home, and then our 27-year-old often comes for dinner. So there's this mass of people that walk.
I
Just
love
to
it.
answer this question, and the funniest thing, like a week ago, this car pulls over and it's like, "Is everything okay?" And because my husband has his flashlight, because it's dark by after dinner here, so my husband has his flashlight, and we're like, "Yeah, why?" He goes, "Oh, I thought you guys were looking for a missing child or missing dog or something, because it's this mass
You
of
thought you were a
people."
search party?
And we're like, "No, we're just on a family walk. It's okay."
That's
So,
awesome. No, I
yeah,
love that. When I see families, I'm like, that's so cute. Like
yeah,
that's wholesome. The family walk. I
yeah.
love
But I
it.
will say, whether you're walking or going to the gym or jogging at the train tracks, it does give you more energy, like for the rest
True.
of the day. So even this morning, I'm like, honey, I don't want to walk today. I got up
Yeah.
and I went because he just turned on the light and started getting dressed to go on a walk. So I'm like, I guess we're going on a walk. But then afterwards, the rest of the day, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm really glad I went on that walk. Or, it does give you
Yeah.
that kind of energy you need.
100%.
Very cool. Okay, so another question that avid readers like me to ask is what are some books you've enjoyed, Christian fiction books, like either recently or some of your favorite Christian fiction books?
Sure. So my answer is boring. I love Francine Rivers. Not because
Everyone
Francine Rivers
loves, we
is
all love
boring,
Francine
but
Rivers.
she's
Yeah,
the original gangster OG.
she is.
I love her. Really all of
And her
them.
movie's coming out. The movie's
Yeah,
coming out.
I know, I know. Specifically, just to make the answer more interesting, I like of course Redeeming Love, beautiful
Hmm.
masterpiece. I really liked The Masterpiece. That one was good too. I
Yeah,
read
that was
that
good too.
actually right before I started working on After She Falls. And her protagonist kind of reminds me of my protagonist,
Yep.
Max.
Yeah.
And then I really like the Mark of the Lion series,
Mm,
specifically the third one. A lot of people don't like Atrates. I think he's wonderful.
yeah, that's
I mean,
my
he's
favorite like
scary.
all-time historical like series, I think, is
Yes,
the
so
Mark of
good.
the Lion series, yeah.
Hmm. And I have so many books all the time that I want to read, but it is like the hardest season ever for reading. I need to
Yeah,
get in the audiobook world, but even that with my three little tiny children, inevitably I start listening to an audiobook and I'm needed. Um,
exactly.
yeah. But I have Kate Breslin's new book around here. I've got a whole bunch of just I'm really my third book might be historical. So I really want to kind of dig into some of
Ooh,
the good historical ones. I'm specifically like interested in this really kind of lesser known uh battle that happened, sort of a biblical type of war thing that I don't think many
very
people have
cool.
written about. Yeah, make it kind of romantic. So we'll see.
Very
But
cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
Francine, OG. If you ever see this, Francine, I love you.
She's a good friend of mine, so I'll tell her.
Oh, tell her. Yeah, please tell
Yeah,
her. Super fan. Super fan
I
over
love
here.
her. Yep.
Like so
Everyone
many
loves
other
Fran.
people.
And
Yeah.
she's just genuine. Like just meet her and she's just a genuine person
Yeah.
and she spends so much time in God's word. Like
Yeah.
I tell writers like, okay, you want to write better, spend more time in God's word because
Yeah.
she just is such a good example for me. So, yeah,
Yeah. And
we all
I've
love her.
yeah, I've listened to her interviews, different things she's done. If you like search Francine Rivers on YouTube, it's just such an eclectic little mishmash of things. And I've listened to so many of them because I just like listening to her talk and like her
Yep.
process. And And so, yeah, that's awesome that you're friends.
Yeah,
Jealous.
she's great. I know. She's awesome. All right. So, After She Falls, again, it's releasing November 2nd. Where can people go to find more information about you and this book and the
Sure.
one that you're working on that you're going to get
Yes.
it done? You're going to get it
Yeah, I'm
done.
gonna get it done. I'm gonna get it done. I am. The best deal for that book right now, which is not gonna last very long between now and tomorrow, but at Baker Bookhouse, it's
Okay.
40% off. So highly recommend
Ooh, okay.
if you want to get it, you need to order it today, November 1st, to get that deal. But Baker Bookhouse has really good deals, I think, a lot of
They
the
are
time. So
awesome. Yeah.
yeah. And then to just kind of follow me, I'm on Instagram. That's
Okay.
primarily where I like to hang out. Try not to spend too much time on Instagram, but that's if
Yeah.
I'm online, that's what I do. And then I have a website, and it's just my name,
Okay.
carmenschober.com. Um, and then, I kind of blog for different places. The Stream is one that I haven't written for them recently, but do some cultural commentary stuff on the arts there
Ooh.
for the Stream. Yeah, but my website is where, if you want a little update from me every once in a while about what's going on and what's next and all of that, that would be the place to go.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Carmen. This has been so fun getting to know you. I'm loving your book. So it's fun
Thank
getting to know you through
you.
your words too. But thank
Thank you
you
so
so much
much.
for being here and connecting with us today.
Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity, Trisha. Thank you for running that Facebook group. It's awesome. I was like,
It
oh
is.
my
I
gosh,
love the
if
people.
you
Yeah.
ever need a book recommendation, that is the place.
Yeah, just ask like I need a
Yep.
historical novel and you're just going to get 200
Well,
comments.
oh my
So,
gosh. Well, you could be like, I need a historical novel with a red-headed protagonist who is 6'2". Like, and somebody, I bet there'll be like 100
they
copies.
will
I know
know.
they will
They
know.
will
It's super.
know.
I
Yeah,
love it.
someone I
I
need a
love
book
it.
in Alaska. I need a book in this and I need a book
Yeah.
in that and they'll know exactly. Yeah. I love it.
Truly, truly avid. I love it.
They
It's
are.
amazing. Yeah. But thank you so much. It's been very nice talking to you too. I'm gonna have to go check
Thank
out your
you.
books.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome. Thanks.